Hi there, everyone. Welcome to episode 11 of our podcast. For the eagle-eyed of you, you'll notice that I'm starting this one. Normally Maurizio's job, but Maurizio today turns storyteller. So yeah, you may have got used to a little bit of a format over the last few weeks, actually in the last kind of 10 episodes. But actually last time we were out, we talked about the buyer-centric go to market. And I think where we ended up in that session was really thinking about, well, actually, what's that B2B buying experience like these days? And actually, I think there's a common consensus that's emerging around the fact that this B2B buying experience is becoming a lot more like the B2C buying experience. And when Maurizio and I were talking about this last week, it kind of reminded Maurizio of a story about recently going out and, of all things, buying some going to the running store, which resulted in buying some running socks. And whilst you might not think that's important in B2B buying, Maurizio's here to explain why it is. So, Maurizio, story tell away.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief. So I'm running the New York Marathon in November, and as I continue to run longer and longer and longer distances, I'm noticing um, like very slight differences between like the type of socks that I'm wearing. And it wasn't like a particular plan of mine going to the running store and buying socks. We were actually going to the store to do two things. I wanted to look for just additional like gummies and gels to also try out because I've tried out different brands. But I was going with my wife and my brother-in-law because my brother-in-law wanted to try like a different brand of socks. And it wasn't in the list, but I ended up buying five pairs. So here are four pairs. The fifth pair I wore last weekend for the 20K that I ran. It's this Swiss brand called Compress Sport. Sorry, because of my background was blurred. I there we go.
There you go.
Compress Sport, and I purchased like a different like a sock for a specific um for like specific purpose to try like one of each. And it was very interesting because as I think about the B2C experience, I think that translates very similarly to how people are buying today in the B2B universe. I had never heard about this brand. I heard about this brand because of my brother-in-law, who of course also runs. He is also running the New York Marathon. Actually, the three of us, my wife as well, and we all purchase socks at the end of the day. Um, so he got referred to this brand because they have like these specific mechanisms to avoid blisters, and it's great for like long distance running. So I was like, all right, yeah, sure. I get blisters. Let's try it out. And then when we got there, I wasn't planning on buying anything. And then the salesperson approached us, starting asking questions, what we were looking for. I asked her about like the different types of gummies and gels, and then she started asking more questions about like, all right, so like what type of shoes do you wear? What type of races do you like? Like tell me a little bit about like what are some of your goals in terms of like running? Are you looking, for a specific distance, for a specific speed, for a specific time? Walk me through like the socks that have you've worn so far, and the effect on your feet. Do you get blisters a lot? Oh, all of these like relevant questions, like even colors. It's like what are your thoughts on like colored socks? Like, do you like it? Do you like matching socks with like your shoes? Do you like different socks? And like if you see, after asking a bunch of questions, I not only got like different types of socks, but like even different colors.
Yeah.
So I think that that is very important when it comes to just like the selling experience. The even though, like, again, I had never heard about this brand, never wore the brand, never talked to anybody that wore the brand, and because I trust my brother-in-law, of course, um, it would be it would be uh, sorry for the language, but it would be kind of shitty for me to say in a podcast that I don't trust my brother. Of course, I trust him, trust his judgment. He's been running for a while, so I was like, hey, if he's gonna give it a go, I'm gonna give it a go. And it took us just a couple of minutes to go from I'm not buying anything to buy multiple products, because we not only had already heard about the brand, but had confidence on the brand because of like referral performance that we got, or that he got and then I got. Um, but I guess the what brought it all together was the stellar performance of the salesperson.
Yeah.
And I've been in sales my entire career, and it didn't feel like a salesperson. And I think that's what's different, right? Like selling, I'm going to say something controversial. That's why, like, I stopped. I feel that selling is over in a sense, because it's less and less of I'm going to sort of try to convince you to buy my product for my benefit, versus I'm going to try to understand your world, what you like, what you care about, and try to help you find a good fit, if I can, with the product and or service that I provide.
Yeah.
And even, I even tried the, those like trekking, trailing, the bags, and the person, it was like a $200 bag, and she was like, "Yeah, I think that it kind of looks a little bit weird on you. Uh, that specific bag is not that big, like it's not that tall, so when because of your body type, when you start running it's going to be fine, but like
Yeah.
after mile 10 you're going to start to feel how it's going to start lifting up, so it's going to get a little bit uncomfortable. I know you like it, the brand is great, but for $200 I would advise you not to buy it." So I think that's what's different, and that in you know in the selling process and the buying process nowadays. And I think that transitions, or that mimics very well into um, the B2B experience. So with that in mind, how do you feel, and how do you think that, this experience and sort of B2C mimics with the B2B experience?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, that it's a statement and a half that, sales is, I can't remember if you said sales is dead or, I think it was. Like, I do think that, we talked last week about that buyer-centric experience and it being a buyer-centric market. And I think that is the element now. It's like, are you really selling anything, or are you just making it easier for someone to buy something? And I'm sure there are people that will listen to that and be like, well, what's the difference? But I think there is a big difference. Like we talked about last week, you want to have people get 95% of the journey, their buying journey, before they feel like they need to maybe speak to someone, or they feel compelled to engage. That last 5% for me, and why I think there's so much, akin to what you're talking about in terms of that B2B, B2C experience you had, is that last 5% really is about empathy and trust, and making people feel good about what decision they're about to make, because like I say, they're pretty much there. They just want to put the icing on the cake. So the two things that I wrote down that I think happened in that experience that's happening in the B2B experience is, you wanted someone to ask the right questions and show that they understood. Like, they wanted to know about your challenge so that they could reassure you that actually they could give you the solution. Hey, Tom's back in the scene.
This is actually
Oh,
the other one. This is Lana. This is his sister.
love it. There we go.
She's not 25 pounds. She's more like 13.
Oh, well, tiny.
Big difference. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Sorry.
no, all good. Pets are thoroughly encouraged on the podcast. Um, yeah, I think it's that element of show that you understand, show that you not only can understand, but also then feel like you can help. And I think those are the two things that go together to build up that empathy and trust that someone is making the right decision about what they're buying. And, for me, that's where that B2C and B2B intersection exists, is that, most B2B sales are reliant on seeing something, connecting with something, going out and wanting to try it, getting a bit of, reassurance that actually what you're trying and what you want to achieve is possible and the right thing to do. And then basically just getting to that point where you can be really comfortable that you're buying into it. Now, the only other thing that I would add to that, and something maybe that we take for granted, is the ability to try it and see if you do like it and not be tied into something. That's a massive part of this as well. Like, the fact is that, and I think you even said this about the experience of buying socks, which is in some parts kind of crazy, that, you're able to try the socks on, and it's like, that is a massive part of, going to buy anything in the B2C experience, is that, I can try a t-shirt on, see what I look like in it, and decide whether I want to buy it. Like, the B2B experience for so many people now is exactly about that. Can I try it? Can I see if it fits with what I do at my business? And then can I buy it off the back of it? And, that is the modern B2B experience. It's like, most people expect to be able to not just be told about something and trust that someone's telling them the right thing. It's like, I want to trust that you're telling me the right thing, but I also want to be able to see that that trust is earned. Um, Same with the socks.
I absolutely forgot about that part. Like, check the difference. Beautifully put. Never worn. I wore these. I bought them. See how they're packaged differently? And I forgot about that. And these are specifically like shock absorb socks. And I was like, wait, what? Really? I wanna feel I wanna see how that feels. And I think that is incredibly important. I think I've never actually been able to take socks off the
Yeah.
packaging and wore them before buying them. I think
But
that was incredible.
and especially when it relates to like performance, buying for performance is like, you shouldn't really be able to buy for performance without trying something first. Like, I don't think it's right. You're investing money into something, you want it to make a material difference. You're going to probably get your team excited about it. You have to try it first. So yeah, I think, from that B2C and B2B perspective, I'm really glad that you shared that story with me, and then have been able to translate it into talking to the audience about it, because, it is important to get that experience right. And, treating people in that B2C way, I think, is really powerful for B2B. So, on that note, we're going to wrap up this week's episode, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. As always, if you've got anything you want us to talk about, drop it into the comments. But we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
And if you guys are running New York, I'll see you in New York, November. Boom. Bye.